remarks to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. Please keep swearing and rude gestures to a minimum. I'm mainly talking to myself, evidently, in that context, but, you know, there we go.
On candid camera, yeah.
Okay.
Alan Fun. Yeah.
So,
Really?
I think one of those is from, oh, Michael's got it, great.
This one?
Yes, that's the one.
And this is it.
All right, so what we've got on the hit parade for this evening, I'll just give you the agenda. Update on the Highland Commons check.
Yes, it's in.
The assessors, it is, the
Yay.
assessors revision, potential cut restorations, dealing with our minutes from the last meeting. Looking at a date for a public information session on the warrant for the citizens of the town, which I talked with Evie about, Evie Duick to do it, 19 Carter. Because we did it last year.
Did we?
Yeah, we did it last year, and
Sure.
a lot of people came, and people found it really helpful.
Okay.
So I asked Evie if there was time. She gave me some dates, and we can talk about that. You don't have to come. Only,
Okay.
you know.
I don't think, I'm sure I didn't last year because it doesn't sound familiar.
Right.
What, is it day, evening? Do we?
Evening.
know what's
Yeah,
Okay.
evenings. And then we should talk about our end of the fiscal year meetings, because we will begin to receive additional reserve fund transfer requests. People coming in to explain to us how their budgets are bleeding over the ground and what help we should give them, and you know, it happens at the end of every fiscal year. So
And the fiscal year meetings being in May or June?
there's usually one in June, and then one in the first week of July, because we're allowed, fiscal year closes at the end of June, but the state laws and regulations give us permission to.
Okay.
Huh?
Stay
15.
open until 15th.
They stay up until July 15th? Okay, so for the first 15 days of July, we can still,
Okay.
you know, put on those
We can still
long
spend money.
veterinary gloves and move things around to try to make everything happy. Yes, I had to go with that image.
Yeah, you did.
But we always do that.
for the mental French knife, but I didn't have that with me.
Okie dokie. So that's what's on the hit parade for tonight. And we have various guests for this evening. And they brought their friend, our friend the camera.
Our friend.
Okay. So first, yes, the Highland Commons check has arrived and has been turned over to June to put in the bank. Yay, because
Yes.
that makes everybody's life better. Thank you for doing the dunning call to them about that.
You're welcome.
We are pleased they paid in a reasonably timely fashion, because otherwise
The
there
amount
would
was
be.
as expected?
Yes.
It was
Bill.
actually a little higher than I had,
Oh, good.
you know, but presumably we're getting a tip, I don't know. But it's only about $5,000 more than I was expecting.
Yeah, this is, from here on out, it'll be the same plus the cost of living every year now.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that's item one. Item two is the Board of Assessors got in touch to say, oops, we intended to give a cost of living adjustment to the assessor's staff only, as opposed to a cost of living adjustment plus a raise. So they submitted this revised budget, and I told them that we would need to meet to okay that, because it is not within, even though I play with the spreadsheet a lot, and my partner at this point thinks it's my favorite video game, I am not authorized to just go in and say, oh, sure, I'll do what the assessors want, unless we approve
We have to
it.
vote on it?
We have to approve it, yes. So I checked the percentages, and they looked okay to me, in terms of, so is there any discussion about the assessor's request that we
No,
cut
the other
their-
thing is that it didn't, I'm confused because the number is up, but I thought you said it was, that they had both things in there, but now they're only saying that they want one thing, so
They originally, if you compare this to the
Cost of
previous
living.
version, they gave a cost of living adjustment plus a step increase.
Yeah.
This one only has the cost of living adjustment.
okay, so it's increased, but not increased as much as it was.
It's gone down in terms of the
Got it.
overall town budget. This
Got
is
it.
less than they requested before.
Less than we requested, but still more than last year, because it does have the
Correct.
COLA.
It does have the
Got it.
COLA in it.
Okay.
So,
And
any
they've
other,
reduced, and everything else, did no change on the expense side.
the expense side, as far as I'm aware, and I will double check this, because all I double checked was the top section. I didn't check to see if
So
they
we
were
just have to be okay with the fact that
sneaky.
they want less money.
That is the notion. Any questions about that? Thoughts about that? Do we want to just say, yes, you may have less money. We don't get that question very often.
Yeah, exactly. We should-
I just got
we should
razzed
run-
in the
we should
I just
run
got
with it.
razzed in the copy room by a couple of department heads, and I said, yeah, it's that time of year. Enjoy it. Now go away. Do I hear a motion to accept this then? To approve
So
this?
move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the revised budget from the assessors, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Okay, so this is approved. I will make that change in the sheet of spread.
And what was the final amount then?
The revised amount,
It's
173?
173,430. That
Okay.
inclusive of
Which actually is lower than last year.
expenses and
Okay.
wages revised. Okay, so I will make
Got
that
it.
change. All right. So that was the assessor's revision. Now, last Thursday.
Now we're at full strength.
What?
We're at full strength.
Yes, we
now.
are.
It's like
We
coffee
aren't-
or something, right?
Yeah, you can sit with your, if you sit
my
with your,
back to
if you
it.
sit with your back to the camera, then you can make faces and they won't
I'm
know.
gonna come around the other side of you guys.
Okay. I was just pointing out an
Meanwhile, I'm
advantage.
giving it my good side.
He's
Your best
it's
side.
his best
That's his
profile.
good
Best
side.
profile?
Could you pass me one of those sets of, yes, thank you very much.
Yep.
You can leave that camera right where it is. All set. So far, you're not in it.
That was
so
my
you
set.
go
You know.
sit
Also the
a
Was
little
it?
bit more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was there an extra one here somewhere?
there should be more, yeah. I made 4.
You sent stuff electronically,
I
which
did.
I have my PC, but
Okay,
if you don't have a copy, I'll just,
well,
tell me what we're looking at.
let's see, this one, you wrote in the note on it, revised down, I think. Okay. Well, what I can do, you see, is make another copy. Is there another copy of this?
No.
Did you happen to snitch one?
Like that.
I have one of each now,
Okay.
but Mary, if you need it, you can certainly have it.
What I will do, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I have one. Here, you can have this.
awesome.
What am I saying? See, we get too much paper. You confuse us all.
Indeed.
Now, don't make a shaky cam thing happen. Nobody's going to be happy with that.
Yeah, but then you guys won't be on camera.
It will be on camera. We'll just look like this.
And everyone will be nauseous.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I already had somebody walk up to me tonight and said, I enjoyed your last meeting. I watched it on camera. I said, okay.
Don't you love it? Don't you love it when you have-
I was tempted to say, do you have cable?
Is this a
Like-
comment about what's on television?
I don't know. Nobody was clear with me about that.
You're on YouTube.
It's apparently
I know that,
first
yes.
Is that right?
I know.
ever. It's 55 million likes.
I've been worse
If
places.
that's not a testament to what's wrong with YouTube, then I don't know what is.
I know that. That wasn't swearing, that was just honesty.
This will be on YouTube.
It is.
Okay.
On YouTube. In the last.
Why can't town
Probably not
government
one
be
of the
funny
big,
at the same time?
It can
Why
be
not?
fun.
It can be, I think so. Okay. So anyway, quickly, we have received the check for the Highland Commons public safety funds. Yay. Last Thursday, I sat with Dennis and then June, had a little subsequent chat with Molly, and we made the income section of the budget spreadsheet work, which is a good thing. I also sat with June and went through all the income items to make sure that the projections for what we're going to be getting, what we expect to get in FY20 are accurate and realistic. And we made a number of changes in those. And having looked at all of that, I realized that there was a little bit of wiggle room whereby we could reinstate cuts that we had made if we want. Plus, there was an item that we missed, there was an item that we missed. Molly came back and said that she and the assessors went back over the assessors' overlay amounts, and they said, could you please make it 160 instead of 150? And I said, I will bring that to the finance committee and let them know that you requested that.
What does the assessor's overlay do?
Oh, that's right, you weren't here last
Abatement.
You missed all the
I
excitement.
did, I apologize.
Heady times, heady times.
Okay.
Yes, it is money that
Another
we.
time, I don't want to take.
No,
Everybody
it's-
else knows.
It's true, but I could tell you, it's still won't
Well,
take
because
long.
we still need to
Yeah.
figure it out.
The overlay is an amount of money the assessors set aside that is considered a reserve in the budget. It counts against the expense side of the budget. to insulate the town against possible tax abatements, predominantly from commercial properties, because the residential ones are not that big, but commercial ones can be
Okay.
substantial. So that's what it is. Okay. So we could comfortably reinstate $50,000 worth of cuts and still be underneath the 2.5% limitation on property taxes. This is what I went and looked, and this is looked at people's requests. The planning board said, "Can we please have our $1,000 back?" I'm just going to go through them quickly. I personally, with a larger budget, would like to increase the size of the reserve fund, which is the 5,000. Excuse me. The interim chief and interim deputy chief and fire and EMS said that they were quite comfortable with a $5,000 cut. They provided us with options for 5, 7, and 10. I was going to propose that we give them $4,250, which with the $750 left after the $750 from last week went to them. That is to say, $750. And if we put an additional $4,250, that would give them the $5,000 cut.
Okay.
It was originally $10K. Sorry, that was
Gotcha.
very convoluted, but thank you for following it. The one that we did not get, I heard about it before the budget was starting from Tom Galvin, but the paperwork didn't come through as far as I can tell, is the police would like to hire an outside company that currently provides animal control services to quite a few towns in Massachusetts and in central Massachusetts.
Try to get another one.
There's currently $1,000 in the expense budget for the animal control officer. This is an additional $17,000 to make up an $18,000 contract. They would give us 7-day a week, 365-day a year, 24-hour coverage.
And this is animal control, not inspecting animals on farms?
Correct.
Okay.
But Tom is also in discussion with the Board of Health about folding
Those two
that
together.
function into this now.
Yeah.
Because there have been challenges with the animal control officer. The person is extremely part-time, to put it mildly. I think it's about a $3,000 budget, $2,500 or $3,000. It's in that range.
I met her one day looking for pigs.
Yeah. Well, pigs do get loose. They're wily
find
critters.
I don't know, she asked me to
Yeah.
keep my eyes open.
But anyway, currently, the place, when she finds the pigs, do you know where they go?
No.
Her house.
Oh,
Along with the dogs and the llamas and anything else, because we don't have a facility. These folks do have a holding facility, and it's in this area. So anyway, that's a request from Tom Galvin that it didn't make it into the version of the budget that we looked at, so it's in here now. You guys asked if we could put the personnel committee's $5,000 back in case they need to hire a consultant. So I put that in here. I suggested adding $5,000 to the legal budget because lawyers are always thirsty.
Thank you.
Yeah. We cut the veterans officer. The town has a veterans assistance officer. His hours are expanding, and I think he was getting like a $4,500 raise to accommodate added hours, and we cut $500 from that. And I thought with this we could afford to put that back. Last two, as you know, we cut a lot from the Council on Aging. This would just give them some of the money back toward the cuts that we made. And then the $10,000 for the assessor's overlay to go from $150,000 to $160,000 per their request. And I added this all up with my very own little calculator on my very own little phone, and it should be $50,000. But the first thing I always do in any budget meeting, if I'm not the one that wrote something up, is add it all up and see if it really comes to the thing at the bottom. Because in my experience, about a third of the time it does
just
not.
added, it's correct.
Thank you. Yes, that's a good thing. So those are my suggestions. This is a proposal. We can do some of this, all of this, none of this. Do people have thoughts, preferences? Let me see if I can get a copy of the expense part of the budget. from our prior discussions.
So if we do nothing, it means we're just not gonna go up to the full amount that we can, 2.5.
Well, this won't get us to 2.5. This will get us to like, I think.
So we weren't quite there anyway.
No. When the income came in higher than I expected it to. And this is about, I don't know, let's just say that people who don't want to pay the full 2.5 will be okay with that. It will not go all the way up to 2.5. Here is a copy of the various expense things, if you don't have that with you, if you want to
Yeah,
take a
I
look
don't.
at
Just
it.
pulled it out.
Okay, there you go.
So the 17, I mean, obviously that's a huge jump from year to year with the animal control officer and understanding that there's a need for it.
Yep. Bear in mind
there
also
any-
the animal control officer's salary goes away.
Correct, which is.
So about 3,000, 3,500, I
Right,
think.
So
it's
is this
it's
a net
significant-
increase or?
This is a net increase, yes, that's correct. The total cost is
Is it a
18.
warrant article?
No, it's in the budget.
It should be warrant article. I don't know. It's a new way of doing it. I mean, that's why it's
Well,
$17,000. That's a
These
lot.
folks signed off on it, FYI.
Okay,
we
it's
just-
just usually when something like that happens, it becomes a warrant article.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't done that when we've hired additional police officers to cover Highland Commons, or, which is not exactly the same
Yeah.
thing, but
I'm not sure that's true. I
No,
think
it's not usually a special article, it would just be an increase in the line item.
So it's a, what, 500% increase? It's a big
significant.
increase.
It's a huge,
I mean,
number.
it's a
So
big
is there
increase.
anything is there any intermediate step? I mean, is there a way to contract for lesser services for a year? I mean, better than what we have, but not quite the full,
it's sort of a regionalized thing. It's gonna be, I believe, with, I don't remember the towns. Probably should have asked Tom Calvin to come up unless you already have.
We've
I've,
heard
ta-
about
I've,
it.
I've talked to him about it, but he
Yeah.
didn't, this,
It was early in the budget process. We heard about it.
yeah, he
Yeah.
talked to us about
But
it.
for
but
some
it-
reason, it didn't come through.
when I was, I think the original got stuck. If you want to talk about the challenges of paper accounting,
Stuck to a
the
page.
original got stuck into the paperclip on the back of something
of
else.
someone.
Because I saw it when Mary pulled it up, and she's like, "Oh, here it is," which is not her fault. That's okay. We knew about it. It just didn't come through with all the paper when it
Okay.
finally came through. I mean, from my point of view, this is Tom solving a problem the
Oh,
town
yeah,
has.
it was a problem, that's for sure.
And as an individual line item, it's a significant increase, but $17,000, even in the context of the public safety budget, is very
Small.
small.
There was $4,000 in that budget last year,
Right.
between the salary and the expenses.
Yes. So, for what it is going up a lot, but it's not hiring a full-time person. It's considerably less expensive than that. It doesn't involve benefits, it doesn't involve a pension, it doesn't involve us providing health care to somebody. And from my point of view, it's also a service where I think it's reasonable for us to outsource it.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is I'm equating it to increases in hours in other departments that there was a request to the accountant to go up to a certain number of hours, the collector goes there.
And we did.
But we did it
in the
over,
end.
but we've done it over, in the end, yes, but we've also done it over a number of years. And we've taken these things in pieces so that they're not a giant leap in 1 year.
If this were for more money, I would share your concern.
The dollar amounts that we were talking about in other years were, we didn't go $17,000 increase for some of these staff members. We took it in stages. At less than 17,000 at a whack, I think.
We went from, to use June. Can I pick on you?
I was going to say, can we ask what?
I'm here.
Yeah, because June, since you're here, I could pick on you. Thank you. Yeah, June was being paid, I think, 30-something.
Well, a while ago, it had gone up, but I think it was like 5,000. It went up.
Well, you were in the
8,000.
30s, and we took you up to 62.
Not a
But
drop
not
jump. No.
Yeah, no,
Not
it
in one
goes
thing.
not
Okay.
17
Over
in a
like
year.
3 or 4 years.
And that's why I asked if there was any way that this could be incremental. If it can't be incremental, then maybe it's not even an option.
I think you either contract with them or you don't.
Yeah,
I'm not,
Yeah.
this was a contract, flat
Yeah.
out contract, it wasn't a,
Yeah,
like
So-
hourly.
it would
Do-
be like
do
the
other folks have-
assessment for the dispatch or something. It would be,
Yeah,
this is the assessment, you know. you wanna
right.
be
Do
a
other
member.
folks have questions about it? You look like you have a thought.
No, I don't really have a question. I mean, if this is a function that it's actually important that we have, and we currently don't have it,
We
have it,
have
but
it,
it's
but it
almost
is,
broken.
it
well,
is,
if we have it, very, very part-time, somebody who works occasionally
yes.
when the pigs are loose.
Yes.
But,
We have someone who does the best that I think she can with the resources we have
yeah,
provided.
which are very limited.
Yes. I'm also, I do not think it is the case that she wishes to do it as a full-time person.
Yeah, no.
Not that pig finding can't be fun, but I'm not sure she wants to do it 40 or 50 hours a week.
Oh, is it a hardship to give up what she currently has? Is that
It's a judgment call Tom has made, and the answer from him is no. Do you have any thoughts?
I had some chickens in my yard Sunday.
I missed that.
Well, then you could have used her. Just saying.
I didn't know we had a service.
Well, we have an animal control officer right now
I
who's
guess
very part-time.
Yeah, it's in the town papers.
Okay. The chickens in your yard were in the
Yeah,
town
well,
papers.
I used to get a camel over my way, but that doesn't happen anymore. The camel went to Rutland.
Does this mean there'll be somebody to
So-
call if you have a strange animal
Yes.
show up in your yard?
Yes. Well, you call, we'll have to find out from Tom what the procedure is. My guess is that we'd probably call the dispatch center and they would send somebody. But there'd be somebody on duty.
There should be somebody who would come. Okay.
That is the notion.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know much about this. I hear the point about that we're going from 4 to 18,000 in, from year to year, but,
Yep.
the services do sound reasonable.
Okay.
Are we acting on all this as a whole, or are we talking about individual ones still?
We can do it whichever way we
Well,
prefer.
The only other one I would question is the fire EMS number.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that budget has just gone up so much in the last
Mm.
2-3 years. I was very comfortable with the number we cut. I don't see a need to reinstate the 4250. I don't know how others feel about it. They said they could live with the 10.
Well, they said they would. They said 5 they were comfortable with, 10 they could live with if they had to. That was what they told me.
Yeah, I just feel like that department is growing in beyond maybe what I don't want my house to burn down. Clearly,
Well, you're on camera, so you may be in trouble.
but I'm
Stan, they can't find your house.
only. Well, that's true. Some can't. That's scary. I guess they need to find my house.
Your mailbox is near your house, and
My
it has your
mailbox
house
is in
number on
pieces
it.
right now.
Oh,
'cause it
never
was run
mind.
over by the plows.
Sorry
but-
about that.
Yeah, that's a horse of a different color.
Okay. Any other questions about any of these?
So,
Just
One way or the
go
other?
ahead.
Other things we might do
Buzz,
instead?
what's the reserve fund? Is that stabilization? What is that?
No, the reserve
That's
fund is the a fund under our control that currently has $90,000 in it for this fiscal year that
Okay.
we use to fund unexpected budget overruns.
All right.
So will this increase it from 90 to 95?
This would increase it from 90 to 95.
And
That's
last year
correct.
we spent.
We spent all
almost
90. We
all
did
90,
spend all of it,
pretty
yes.
much. Okay.
Oh,
Not
so
just
there
pretty
is
much.
90 in the current budget. It's not something which carries over.
It is a
Is
budget
that-
line item,
Mhm.
and last year we raised it to 90 from 80 the previous
Okay.
year,
Alright.
and
Spent it
we
all.
spent it all
This will
last
raise it
year.
to 95. Okay.
Yeah,
And if
This
we
is
don't
going-
spend it, it goes back to free cash. So
Yes.
it's, again,
Yes, it won't be wasted. We could all go out to dinner. I'm kidding.
Just one more thing.
Yes.
On the 50,000 that was found, any idea, was it just buried in the computer and it appeared, or was there?
No, it
point-
was when,
there
were two
'cause
things.
It helps when we're spending this extra
Mhm.
that we didn't have last week.
Yep.
I just have to, in my mind, put my
Absolutely.
arms around that a little
I will
bit.
tell you, there were two things that happened. One is, June and I figured out that the number that was in the spreadsheet for, what's it called, the tax levy that we calculate the 2.5% increase against, to see what's permissible.
The prior year?
Yeah.
Is that what the prior year?
Right, so
was?
there's a number that gets put in that you use to calculate what's the maximum permissible dollar amount that's 2.5%,
Yes.
right? The number that was in that space was the number from the previous fiscal year, which is why the spreadsheet was saying, you're trying to raise taxes too high, because it was 2 years behind.
Yeah, okay.
So it's hard in the spreadsheet to tell without looking at every cell, which we did, pretty much, which cells are calculated and which ones are data entry. There's no
Have to
effort.
look at the formulas.
Yeah, there's no effort to differentiate. The creator of the spreadsheet did not differentiate those. He just knew, I think. So we updated that. And then June and I also went through the expected tax revenues, of which there's a list of about 15 items.
Yeah.
About 15 items that include the hotel tax, the meals tax, the income from, all the stuff that the
Motor vehicle.
motor vehicle
Excise.
excise tax. Yeah, so we updated all of that stuff and double checked everything. And at that point, I looked at it and said, we could comfortably spend this much more and still be
Okay.
comfortably underneath 2.5%. So this isn't bringing us up to the line, but looking at how much revenue we had, I felt like it wouldn't be fair not to consider it personally, since we made significant cuts in various places.
All right, that would explain it?
Yes. And I will be sitting down with each of you to go over the spreadsheet, because I appreciate your trust. I don't want you to have to trust me, though. I want you to be able to look it up. So I want to make sure I go through with everybody to show you where everything is and make sure you have the links, you can look at it, and all that good stuff. But this year I was figuring out how it worked from the ground up. Happily, the expense section was very straightforward. The income section drove me to tears a couple of times.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a long-winded answer, but I hope it's helpful. Mr. Moderator,
Hi there.
be aware that we're on camera, so be a good boy. I said we're on camera, so you should be good. We're trying our best.
I'll behave myself.
Okay. Good to know.
Hi, Barry.
So are there other questions, concerns about this, changes people would like to make? This is, again, my suggestion for what I thought made sense to do, but there are we can do other things if we want.
Are you ready for a motion?
Well, here's
Or movement from the committee in that direction.
Here's what I'm going to suggest. Why don't we? I heard concern about the animal control officer potentially, and I heard concern about the fire department. So why don't we vote on the others and get them out of the way, if that's a way of proceeding that makes sense to everybody, and then deal with those. Does that make sense?
I think we should vote on the whole thing, just. but,
All in one swell swoop.
In one fell swoop, but that's just me. I don't know, we want to take up the other
I'm
ones.
comfortable doing that.
If we
Okay.
want to take up the other ones, let's do it now, and then vote up or down on the whole.
On the whole thing, okay. Then, does anybody else share enough of a level of concern about the fire and EMS proposal and/or the animal control officer proposal that would impact your vote if we voted on the whole thing? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it does. Are you inviting Stan to continue to try to?
No,
I'm-
he said anyone else.
I'm-
he knows where
anyone-
I know.
where stand on this.
I know that
Anyone
Stan's.
else?
Stan has expressed his concerns. I'm looking to see
Yeah.
if they're shared or if Stan's gonna, make a face at it, and we'll go on.
I don't really know what the 4250 does for fire and EMS that,
We proposed
in
it.
its absence, what did we cut?
They gave us a proposal last
Yeah, they
week,
gave us-
and I may have a copy. Do you have a copy handy?
Here.
Okay. So they gave us some options from
okay, so
a
this is what that
$5,000
has
cut to a $10,000 cut.
There's
And-
three versions
Yeah.
of what.
Each page is one option with the the amount of the cut at the bottom, and it says what they would be cutting. They
Yes, there's the 7,000, and there's the 5,000 option.
Yeah. What they expressed as I heard it, was they were comfortable with $5,000 cut. They would live with whatever we gave them, but that was their preference. So I'm trying to meet them at their preference, but we don't have to do that.
Okay.
Nancy, for a sec.
I mean, nothing in there seems unreasonable.
They gave up their snacks, right?
No, they gave up more than that.
Somewhere in there.
What was
Food
that?
and drink.
I think
Somewhere
if-
in there, the snacks disappeared. Hey,
No,
What
this
page?
reinstates the snacks. I mean, if they,
If
if
they-
we vote only the $5,000 cut, they get their snacks back.
Does it actually say snacks?
Food and drink rehab is what it's
Okay.
called. Mary-
All
I'm
right.
using the
All
term
right.
that Mary used. So.
I think that might be a prejudicial term in
I
budget
don't know.
language.
Yeah,
Snack?
I'm not.
Yes,
I don't know exactly
I
what it
suspect
is.
unless you're running a kindergarten, a budget line item labeled snacks will seem like a high value target.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So I will ask my question again. I know that Stan has concerns about those two items, fire EMS and animal control. Does anybody else share that concern in a way that would impact your vote?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
No.
Nope. Okay. Are we comfortable voting on this as David said, as one group? Would that be okay?
Okay.
It's okay with me.
Okay. In that case, I would entertain motions if one were to be made.
Your turn, Mary.
Oh,
Just say so moved.
I move that we accept the proposed cut restoration of April 10, 2019, as submitted by, are you our chair?
I am, yeah.
Our chair.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, there's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
Okay. That doesn't leave any extensions. So we're abstentions. Sorry, not extensions.
Hair extensions or?
We'll work on that at another meeting. Okay, so that's approved. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1. I'm still getting used to this having 5 people thing. I'm fond of it, I gotta tell you. Okay. All right, I will update the budget tonight to reflect that. And I'll issue the budget to the town report folk tomorrow. Yes, Barry looks pleased about that possibility. Okay, next on the hit parade is our minutes from the last meeting.
That what says draft minutes of April 10th?
Yes, it says draft meetings. I think it means draft meetings of April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Yeah.
It means April
Ah,
3rd.
yes.
Okay, I think we should change
The
that.
other
though.
April 10th, meaning April 3rd.
Yeah, 'cause
Last
I-
week's
I-
April 10th.
Can I read ahead and see what we do?
Yeah, what we did tonight.
Wait, is this like Back to the
It
Future?
was, so I don't start with a blank screen, as you can see, so.
That's okay. Okay,
But these are from last.
Is there another copy of the minutes over there?
I can give you that one. Because yes, there is.
Yes.
I also wrote up, I talked with June, and she was kind enough to tell me that she understood all of the plumbing that I was, the motions for moving $25,000 hither and yon on 2 different ways last week, which was comforting because that meant I probably got it right. But I think other people quite reasonably who are not used to looking at this craziness were like, yeah, we'll just trust you on that. So I wrote up the text of the motions and gave it to David, which is going to go in here. Do you have the?
Yes.
It's the folded in half piece of paper. So, since you keep notes, those are the motions that I believe we made.
There's overlay.
If you could just take a look at that and see if it looks correct to you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So, the the number for the warrant article or a reference to what the article is.
Yes,
should go in there.
Okay. Matter of fact, in these minutes, I left, I put in the warrant articles that we were talking about
Yeah.
at the time, but they're probably going to be changed. So,
I think if it just says the number that we had at the time plus like what it is,
okay.
that's it. I was doing, when I took minutes, I did that
So these
because I
are-
knew the numbers might change.
The other thing I noticed is that last week we approved the minutes of March 27th, not April 3rd. Yes.
Okay, then we should fix.
You've been ahead of yourself
I'm ahead
each week.
ahead of
Wow, okay. Okay. Are there any other corrections or comments on the minutes as submitted by the clerk? I think special fund to defray future special education expenses, I would suggest. Just so that people know what it is. That's on the second page, about a little more than halfway down, where it's a special fund to defray future expenses. That's special education expenses.
Special
The school system
Yeah.
wants to create a
fund to defray future expenses,
It's like,
and that's the one that says 4-0 from free cash?
yeah. And I don't think it actually has to say from free cash. This is just creating the fund. It's not actually putting any money in it.
Okay.
So I think we can probably take out the free cash.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, would you actually call it special education fund to defray future special education expenses? I mean, would you put that
Special
in for both?
education.
Yeah, that's fine. That is what it is and what it's
Right.
for.
Just said special fund, I was.
That's
It's very
okay.
special.
Okay. Where it says electric 60 to 78K,
Yeah.
I think if you could expand that to say budget for town building
Okay.
electricity raised from 60 to 78K, because June thinks that's what we're going to pay. And of course, if it's different, we'll just have to haggle you, you know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
So accepted.
Excellent. Okay, anything else? Good folks?
Well, you know, looking at my notes, Dave had raised the thing from capital planning, that the regional school board found 168,000, so that,
Mhm.
to kind of close the gap,
Mhm.
partially close the gap.
Yes.
And David pointed out that included 103,000 warrant article, right, related to,
Yes. Related to
Memorial School.
providing HVAC access
Yeah.
for maintenance at Berlin Memorial School.
I don't know if that's important enough to
Yeah,
note
no, that's a
here.
good point. That's income this year.
Yes, it is.
You included it as income in that.
That's correct.
Okay.
I talked with June and we figured out a means of causing that money to be applied against the Berlin Memorial capital assessment
Okay.
in the budget.
That's probably where it should go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needs to, that only
It's-
thing that needs to be in our minutes, Dave, I just.
Yeah.
I think it can't
I made a
hurt.
note
Yeah.
of it because I thought it was interesting, so.
Yeah, it's part of that 168,000.
It is. It's
Yes.
103 of
It's
that.
103.
Yeah, I think that's worth noting.
I'll put a note in there because
Okay.
that's considered income this year.
Yes, it is.
However, the air conditioning still needs access, and what he talked about was
Yeah.
a fix, but
And we
not
will
really
be-
a fix.
I am sure that circle will come back again. As it
we're
ought.
hoping that it will.
Yes,
If it doesn't, we'll like it.
yes, we should. Okay. Any other additions, changes, edits to the minutes? I will email you, like I said,
Okay.
so that you don't have to.
All right.
Type all
Then
that
I'll
stuff
put
out.
those- I'll put these, I'll include these in the,
Is that my copy or?
No, you can have it. Yeah, it's your
All right.
copy. Okay, then I will note to self, email to Dave. Okay. And if you could post those to us by email, just so we have them, that would be
Okay.
lovely. Do I hear a motion to perhaps accept the minutes as amended?
I move we accept the minutes as amended.
Is there a second?
The April
Second.
10th meeting, or April 3rd meeting.
Yeah, for April 3rd meeting. If you start to be able to predict the future, you're on the wrong committee. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That I think was unanimous, thank you. Okay, so that's the minutes. All right. So last year, we and some folk from the select board, and I don't even know who else was there, it was unclear to me. I'll get to the what it is in a minute, I promise. There was a discussion of the warrant for the annual town meeting that took place at 19 Carter on a weeknight, and I was there. There were people from the select board there. There were other people there. I was unclear who organized it. I just saw it and thought, what a good idea, and I showed up. So I asked Evie if we could do that again this year, and she said absolutely. And the dates that I have with me, and I wanted to check with all of you, and you don't have, by the way, this isn't an official meeting of the Finance Committee, it's just us showing up with copies of the warrant and being there to talk to the public about it and answer their questions about warrant articles. We're primarily going to be there to answer their questions about the ones that are finance related, either income or expense. Personally, I don't plan to offer any opinions about like the ones submitted by citizen petition. That's up to the citizens to decide, as far as I'm concerned. But we could, if you want to, you're welcome to. The dates Evie suggested that I have written here are Tuesday, April 23rd, or Wednesday, April 24th. I think it's 7 p.m. Do we have a preference between those? Should I tell her Wednesday, since we usually meet on Wednesdays?
Probably
Okay.
better chance I'll remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then again, this is not going to be posted as an official meeting of the Finance Committee because we're not going to be there to make any decisions. We're just going to be answering questions.
You said at 7?
7 o'clock, Wednesday the 24th at 19 Carter. Yes, and I will send Evie email about that when I get home this evening so that she can put it on their calendar and put it out for folks.
We've had some of these in the past.
Yes.
And
They've been well
the
attended.
supporters of the warrant articles have been asked to get up and say something about them.
Sure.
So if we have some warrant articles, it would be appropriate for us to get up and
Yes.
say
We are
something.
sponsoring 2, I think, this year. So
Is this for all of the, do you want the selectmen to come?
you're welcome to come, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't, you're not obliged to,
Okay.
but it's going to take place. I talked with Evie about it because I just thought it was a good idea.
Okay.
That was really my only agenda. Hand to God.
We had done that too, where we spoke about, briefly explained each
Yeah.
article. And
Well, you are absolutely welcome to come. I mean, I'm not viewing this. I'm viewing this as a
you're doing the budget and the money articles.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be there. We may say things about others, but you're welcome to be there and say whatever you want about whatever you want.
Okay,
How's that?
fine. I'll say whatever I want.
Okay. There you
How's
go.
that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll make sure I'll post it. Evie, I'm sure will publicize it. I'll post it on Berlin Neighbors Connect on Facebook and send out email to my neighbors and whatever, so that people can come and ask questions. Okay.
Pitchforks. Their torches.
The pitchforks, whatever they want to bring, that's allowed at 19 Carter
Come as
is
you are.
all good. It's all good. We hope. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to be getting in touch with each of you. I may do some of it before annual town meeting, some of it after, to sit down and go over the spreadsheet with you all and show you the income side and show you. You've seen the expense side pretty thoroughly, I think, but you haven't seen the income side, where there's a summary page which says nasty things to you if you think you've done something, if it thinks you've done something wrong.
Look at it askance.
Yes.
Good.
So, and I think one thing I'd like to talk about before not tonight, but before our process next year, now that I have a pretty good idea how the spreadsheet works and hope to convey a useful amount of that to all of you, when we're looking at cuts next year, I'd like to just have everybody take a look and see what you think,
Mm.
and we can put our heads together. Because this year I sort of shepherded that, and you looked at it, Michael, and I think you said, well, you've made some sausage here. We could, which I did. We could make different sausage, but I'd like all of us to be more a part of that than was the case this year. Because I think that's better. So anyway, I will be in touch about that.
It's a good idea, Buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, this worked pretty well from my perspective.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but I think each of us should be able to say, that guy, that moderator guy with his salary, what's he thinking? He's going to bust the whole budget. All $80 of it, or is it 50? I can't. It's one or the other.
50.
50. Okay, so the 80 is your expenses. Just don't know.
That's the expense account.
I know, it's true. So, I think you're actually the least expensive department. I don't want to make you feel
Well, it's
unimportant.
nice to say, but probably there's some that don't get any money, but.
Okie dokie. Okay. Last thing for tonight. We're going to need to meet at least twice more before the end of the fiscal year. Maybe more than that. I'm going to suggest meeting once in June, and then once we'll need to meet like toward the end of, before July 15th, let's put it that way, because it's the first 2 weeks of July when we have flexibility to make changes in the budget to make sure that everything is happy and the reporting is going to be accurate. And we basically get together with June and the select board, and they wave things around that need fixing, and we vote on it, and that's about how it usually goes. It's not generally
It's accurate.
painful. Yeah, there's a lot of hand waving,
Mhm.
but it's not panicked hand waving.
Typically.
Yes. So, do we want to pick maybe a Wednesday in June, since we're all here and may have some notion of our vacation schedules and other things? And then perhaps a Wednesday in the first couple of weeks of July. Does anyone?
When's the 4th? Is that a Thursday?
I do not know. I have to check.
4th of July is a Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not do the 3rd then.
Yeah.
The
I think
15th
the
is
10th.
actually a Monday this year, and usually that's the day that we do a joint between the Selectmen and the Finance Committee in case we need any final
Okay.
15th of July?
July. Because that would be the last time we could get anything done. for-
Okay. So let
It needs
us.
to be close to the 15th.
It's
Yeah.
actually on the 15th this year.
Yeah.
So would
Is
you?
there any reason to move it up and not have it be on
Could
the
you do it
day?
the week before? Absolutely.
Okay. Would you be comfortable if we did it on the 10th?
It's fine.
Does the select board have to be there with us?
No,
We don't have to hold one another's hands and say,
correct.
we won't blame you and you
I
won't
was
blame
just gonna
us.
say, can we at least sync
Now we can
Kumbaya?
do
I mean,
two
that's
things.
the
I'm sorry?
key.
Just keep in mind this year, well,
Yes.
now, we can do two different things. We can either do a reserve fund transfer, which technically I don't need the selectmen for.
Right.
But we have to have finance committee.
Right.
They've now made it with the modernization rules that the last 2 months of the month, we can transfer amounts from line items,
Right.
if we need to. This year we might.
Yes.
But then we need both. Not
Okay.
necessarily on the same night, but we need approvals from both.
Okay.
Now, I know the selectmen start doing every other week at some point too, so.
Okay.
Probably in July.
You guys put me into a panic at the end of the year, every year, because it's all of a sudden there's no meetings.
Right.
And I already know of a couple of departments now that are gonna need money.
Okay.
So I won't be able to pay that last bill until you all meet, so.
Okay. Would you, how's this as a thought? See what you think. What if we, give me June, you silly calendar. It wants to show me either May or July. What if we met on the 19th of June, which is a Wednesday,
How about the 12th?
the 12th? There is a preference for the 12th.
I'll be in New York on the 19th.
Okay. Could everyone else make the 19th?
The 12th or the
12th.
19th?
It could have, well, he was saying the 12th, but I'm trying to push it. I'm acting on the assumption that later in the month is better.
I get a little nervous around there in case we need a payroll, like if somebody's off $1, that's stupid. So I can do
Okay.
the final payroll.
Is there a Wednesday in June that would be best from your point of view? And we can also do more than one if we're in a real pinch, but we're scheduling at least one for now.
I would say the 26th would be
Okay.
like for payroll, that would be the end of it.
Okay.
That would be the-
Does the Wednesday the 26th work for folks? Doesn't work for you.
No.
Okay.
I'll be out of the country.
Does it work for The rest of us?
Yeah.
Because I know.
Oh, I didn't bring my phone. I don't have my calendar.
Okay.
So I'm searching my brain.
Well, you can,
The end of the fiscal year is the end of June.
correct,
Yeah.
yes. Well, why don't we tentatively put it for, it sounds like at least 3 of us can make Wednesday, the 26th. So I'm gonna,
7:30?
7:30.
I'll put it on the calendar just in case things change.
sure. Okay, so we'll definitely set a meeting for 7:30 on June 26th. And then, June, would it be your preference that we do the 10th or the 15th of July?
15th is drop dead, can't do anything beyond that.
Right,
But as long as I tell the department heads, hey, that the 10th is it, then
would that work?
10th is it.
Would that work for you? Because then that lets the select board,
They can have,
you know.
hopefully they'll be.
I mean,
there
and
on the
and we can show up on the 15th, or I can if we've acted and they just need questions answered. So shall we say the 10th?
Yeah.
Okay, so July 10th. Does that work for all of us? Okay, so Wednesday, July 10th at 7:30.
Oh, there's a school regionalization meeting now. Let's just keep coming up, even though we're regionalized.
I thought you were regionalized
I know,
already. I'm like, what are they
just
meeting
stay
about?
in there forever. I don't know
Oh, you mean
why.
like your calendar is
Yeah,
telling
I
you
don't
it's
know.
there, but it
Yes, I
isn't
don't-
true?
How does that ever go away?
Well, I think you click on it and you
However.
say delete.
So I need to do that?
Yeah, you have to go in and reset it.
That
It's
doesn't
not
seem
every.
right. They should be.
Okay, well,
Maybe
we
I
can
did.
always blame the schools for that.
I
There you
don't think
go.
I put them all in there. Maybe I did.
Okay, so,
You can go back to the invitation and decline it,
Yeah.
and then they'll
all
disappear.
right, so we've set those 2 meetings. It just, based on experience from prior years, something urgent may come up. If something urgent comes
I
up,
was just gonna say,
just
is
let me
there
know.
A tentative one maybe in May,
Um,
because then we can start doing it from line items.
okay, let me go back to the calendar. Is there let me look at Wednesdays in May.
Because otherwise I'm waiting until the 26th of June, which gives them a whole 2 months to overspend. Versus you voting on it in
Okay.
May and then they have to figure out what they're gonna do.
How about, let's see, what time is that? Middle of the month, later in the month? What do you think is best, Jim?
22nd, 29th?
Okay, Wednesday, the 22nd of May. Does that work in folks' universes? It does.
Basically.
Excellent, okay. We'll find out. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so let's say Wednesday, the 22nd, 7:30 PM.
May 22nd.
May 22nd, yes. Okay, and I will send this out an email as a reminder to folks.
And
I'll
you
post
do
them.
mean- You do mean 7 o'clock or 7:30?
7:30.
For each
What
of
did I-
those.
Yeah, what did I say?
7:30?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, 7:30.
Okay,
We only do 7 o'clock when the budget stuff is getting really,
gotcha.
hot and heavy in like February, March, generally.
Right.
It makes a huge difference in my world. It's
Yes.
another half hour on the
Yeah.
highway,
Yes,
literally.
I believe you. All right. So those meetings, I'm guessing, will suffice. If something catches on fire and
I'll let you all know.
starts crying to the heavens for help, then just let us know, and we will deal with it appropriately. There is one other thing that occurs to me. Usually there is a letter that accompanies the budget that we submit to people, and I wrote down some thoughts for the letter, which you might gather since I wrote down thoughts for it, I haven't written it yet, one might guess. But things I was gonna, so these are things I was planning on mentioning in the letter. One, we're getting rid of a fire truck. I figured that would make everyone happy. Chief Spakowski looked at the fleet, said, "Why do you have 5 trucks? I just went and looked at the town. I looked at your trucks. We don't need that one." So the truck that we're buying this time is 2 trucks being merged into one for the future.
Transformer.
It is. It's like Legos or Transformer or something. I want to point out to people that we are going to, again, we'll be under the 2.5% for this year. Not by a lot, but we will be under it. I'm going to ask Dennis about the increase. Our interest payment line item has gone up substantially in the budget this year. I think that's because of the town barn, but I'm going to confirm that with Dennis. I just wanted to say something about that since as a piece of the budget, it's gone up so much. Barry, this might be an interesting question for you. I asked some other folk, when was the last time that we did an override on the tax rate? Now,
It's a long one.
yeah, and I was told the
You
1980s.
mean general?
Yeah, a Prop 2.5 override in order to increase a tax rate to something more than 2.5%. Yeah, I think it's been
Probably
since,
20 years or
I
something.
bet it's 20 years.
yeah, Thomas thought it was the 1980s.
Hmm?
The last time Tom Andrew could remember that happening was the 1980s.
1980?
That's what 80s, that decade. No.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Don't remind me.
Quite that
Turned
long.
84, and I don't remember one.
I don't know, I'd have to look it up. I mean,
Well-
certainly since, 96 and Solomon Pond Mall, we haven't.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was, it turns out, I discovered in this conversation with Thomas that there are two kinds of overrides under Prop 2.5. There's the tax rate potential override, which I knew about. Then there is an override to permit a,
Debt exclusion.
yeah, but there's a different word for what is the thing towns put out for people to buy? I mean, it's a bond override, essentially. At least that's what Thomas called it.
That would be a debt exclusion.
Well,
Okay.
Assume to borrow,
Yes.
and it's only
it
for the
is.
life of the loan. After
Correct.
that, it goes away.
So that we did
that's
we
a
did around
debt
the mall.
exclusion.
Yeah.
Yes. So we did that in '96. I knew about that. But okay. Just wanted to
There's
double
more
check.
kinds than that, though, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure, but,
Generally, those are the
Yeah.
two. The
Yeah.
general override, which is a forever, and then you've got the debt exclusion, which
Right.
goes away after. Always one.
Okay. And I also have a handy dandy. Did you know there's a Massachusetts Association of Finance Committees?
Mhm, That's
And
what
they-
your money was supposed to
And they
be.
print things and they send them to us. That's very thoughtful of them, I think. So they sent us a comparison of the way the different cities and towns handle taxes, which reflects pretty well on Berlin. I don't remember what the number was exactly now, but I think we were in sort of the top 10% of cities and towns in the Commonwealth in terms of how favorable to our citizens our tax treatment has been over the past X years. I'll look it up specifically and put it in here. And then we're currently at a AA credit rating. So those are all things I was planning to mention for good and ill. Most of them are good, except the debt part. The interest section of this year's budget. Anything else people would like to see in that? I will email it to all of you tomorrow to take a look at.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Short, key highlights, right?
The last couple of years, we've mentioned capital planning
Mhm.
because that debt rating, the debt, not
The credit rating.
the credit rating.
Yep.
In the last phone call, all the questions were about, do you now have a capital planning committee?
Yes. Yes.
And so we can answer yes. I wasn't on the phone call, and it was very positive.
Okay.
So,
I will add that as part of the discussion of the AA credit rating.
Is this your town report? Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. It's
The auditors also like to get a copy of this too, because we do it in the audit. So just keep that.
sure. Do you want me to say nice things about the auditors in
Nope, you don't have to.
it? Okay.
But they're interested in.
It's just our town's position, so it goes
Yes.
in as the finance committee's, how they do the tax, how they do the budget and things
Right.
like that. So that's the way that Scott had used to do it, so that he didn't have to do two reports.
Okay. I will send it to you, and if it looks to you like
It's close to the,
it will do,
yeah,
then tell me. And if it needs to be altered so that it will serve both purposes, let me know.
will do.
Okay. I should have it by mid-afternoon tomorrow, I'm imagining. Okay, anything?
Wasn't our understanding with the town barn that the borrowing was supposed to coincide with paying off this building so that we wouldn't incur large increase in interest
And in
expense?
fact, the answer is yes, and we did keep that promise.
I think what's getting you is the ladder truck,
Could be.
is the interest in the ladder
I'm
truck.
gonna
'cause
I'm
we
gonna
got
check
rid
with
of this
Dennis.
building.
However, last year Dennis came in and was explaining to us about paying off this building and starting the payments on that building.
Mhm.
And it looked to me, looking at what he was presenting, that they might overlap by a year.
Okay.
And his verbal explanation did not reassure me that that was not also true.
That's sort.
And so we
that's
kind
what I
of
remember
were
about it
like,
too, but I wanted to
hold on a
bring it
minute,
up
Mr.
again.
Treasurer Guy, and we said, can we please make sure that this promise that we made is kept? And he did,
Okay.
because I made sure of that this year. I double checked on it.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, but I will talk with Dennis about the why. I noticed that that's like a, I don't remember this percentage percentage amount of the increase in debt and interest in this year's budget, but it's large, and so I expect people will want an explanation.
Hmm.
So I'll put that in there. Anything else? Should I say nice things about Dennis?
Sure.
Can you tell us about your dinner?
No, I said, should I say nice things about Dennis? That's the treasurer.
Dinner.
Being hard of hearing is rough, I know. You hear the
Dinner you had.
you hear the damnedest things that people didn't say. Okay. So I'll send that out tomorrow when I have it written, and I think unless anybody's got anything else, then we're done.
I was going to say, did any of our
Do you have something?
illustrious guests
I
have
just
something?
came with the wonderful news that I'm going to be putting in for a reserve fund for Monday night to the selectmen. For
Okay.
between $8,000 and $10,000. It looks like it's gonna be closer to $10,000 for municipal building.
For what's the nature of the thing that needs to be funded?
We actually went through, it's not a thing.
Okay.
It's to get him through the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
He's had major repairs as far
Okay.
as different things, and we'll list it down what it is, but it's pretty much like, he's had to replace doors, he's had to do a major thing with the fire compression, something or other here.
Okay.
On top of the 1870, and he's also had the library, and we also had an issue where we used to have an employee that used to do the water testing,
Yep.
and now we have to pay a company to do it.
Right.
And right there is like $7,000 almost, so, maybe not
Okay.
quite that much, but, so, just to get through the end of the year, it's about 10.
Water testing.
Okay.
Because now we have to do water testing at the library also.
See, this is another reason why we got to get this camera thing together, because then we can just give the bill to the schmuck that broke it. I'm kidding. Okay, for the camera, I'm kidding. Mostly. Don't break anything expensive. Okay, thank
And we're hoping
you.
nothing else will go between now and July 1st, so.
Last year, we spent all 90K. I expect this year it'll probably end up being needed.
And we
and-
also have one for the Chapter 32B, but Dennis didn't give me the dollar amount today, so.
Over and
But I've
above,
been-
over and above the change you already made?
For this year's budget,
Right. Oh, for this year's budget. Never mind, sorry.
yeah.
Got it.
I know, we're working in,
Yeah. No,
I'm
no. My
working
mind is
three,
mostly in
so-
FY20 right now, and
only
you're
got
talking
two.
FY19, which is totally sensible since we're still in it. But I
Just an
I don't
FY.
automatically toggle between the two easily in my head at the moment. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
and I'm assuming your next meeting won't be now until town meeting, or is that?
We do have a meeting immediately before town meeting. Town meeting starts at 7:30. Yes.
Yes.
Town meetings at 7.
Okay. Then we have a meeting at 7 p.m. immediately prior to town meeting. Could you post that if you'd be so kind?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason we have that is we will not know the exact amount of the snow and salt deficit. So far as I know, this looks like wood. I'm hoping it is. The current snow and salt deficit is just shy of 20 or 30? 20?
20, the last I gave it, but it's gone up a little bit.
Okay.
so
Yeah, I suspected that night we had a little snow and ice that they
I'm
might have.
hoping it's under 30. so.
Okay.
So deficit?
It's the snow and salt deficit, yes. We put in an amount every year that we expect will cover most of it. Unlike the city of Worcester, bless their buttons, puts $1 in it every year, and they just spend, and then they pay the bill at the end of the year. We try not to do that. So, but yes, that's what it's for.
What's their credit rating?
I don't
I'm
know.
just curious.
Beats me. I haven't looked.
So this town meeting will start at 7:30?
Yes,
And so there's no special town meeting or anything?
No, we
So
did-
we'll meet at 7?
Yeah, we determined that we could, this year, put it in a regular article at the very start of the warrant that says specifically this is to deal with the overage for FY19, which was a nice solution. Thank you. So, anybody want to propose that we get out of here?
Sure.
Anybody want to second that?
Second.
All those in favor of getting out of here, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that was unanimous. I think we're done.